Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Illumineers Quest podcast, where we talk everything Lorcana, not just the newly announced cooperative game in Lorcana. I'm Zach,
And I'm Jacob.
and thanks for coming on this journey with us. Every time I say that, it gives you a smile, so we definitely have to keep it.
It's great. I love it.
I
love
actually
it so
did
much.
have, somebody did comment and say we have to keep it. I wish I could remember who it was off the top of my head. I don't have it pulled up, but somebody definitely said keep the new intro, so I think we have to stick with it.
We'll do it. We'll do it.
Okay, today is another banger. We have our patented tier lists. Everybody seems to love them so much that we're doing all the legendaries today.
It's a fun one. This is a big one. It's a big
Yeah,
one.
we have. I think we're kind of just gonna jump into this one because it is a massive one. We got a lot of arguing ahead of us.
Yeah.
So we're gonna kind of breeze through the early stages of the episode here, but yes, I mean, I think with that said, let's go ahead and jump into it. Legendary card tier list. If you're listening to this on Spotify or any other major podcast network, we do have the video version of this on our YouTube channel at Illumineers Quest on YouTube. If you're on YouTube, you can follow our audio versions on any of the major podcast network. And if you want to support the podcast, the best way to do so is through our affiliate link. You can find in the descriptions below, and for any of your TCG player singles needs. Also, I want to shout out, I think that there's just a couple days left when this goes live, but our end of season card awards form/voting is live, and you can find that in the description below and on our Twitter/X account at LorcanaPod. So if you want to vote on the card awards for the end of the season, you have until like April 20th, I think, is when we're closing it. Okay, with that said, card of the week. Jake, take it away.
All right. So I have a duo here, but because you can't take them apart, Flavisham and Popsicle. Because we've talked about Popsicle, how it was like in Chapter 2, it was a very like it happened and went away kind of thing, and now they're a substantial part of Sapphire decks.
Yeah, it's Sapphire. You know, when we did our ink tier list and talked about inks last time and the ink development, Sapphire was definitely the lowest, but it honestly might be the best now. Like,
we're gonna have a bad take every set.
People continue to develop. But yeah, I think real quickly too, like we're going back and getting all of the important cards before set championships, and so Flavisham/Popsicles probably the most important combo in the game.
It honestly is.
And like combo wise, so Flavisham draws more cards than anyone else in the game. You know, guaranteed to draw 2 if you have an item on the board. Guaranteed to draw 4 if it doesn't get removed right away. So it's an extremely huge resource engine.
Most things that have that on you play and whenever you quest
are huge.
Yeah. So, I mean, I thought it was worth mentioning the both of them kind of together.
I like that a lot. And when it comes to gathering resources, one of the most important things to consider in the game, you're the best at that, and it's on play and on quest, then it's really, really good.
I mean, it's a staple right now, pretty much.
Yeah,
I mean, really, it is.
I would definitely say it is. Yeah, so Flavisham, I assume everybody listening to this is very familiar with Flavisham, but he is by far the most important card draw in Sapphire, which is maybe the most important ink to be ready to counter these days.
I mean, nowadays, yeah, in the current meta.
Yeah, so I like it. Flavisham and Popsicle are here to stay, that's for sure.
And the reason I picked Chapter 2 is because we're doing we're getting ready for the Lorcana challenge, so you can do whatever.
Going back through all the set championships, I said that.
Okay, I'm just making sure that any new listeners knew that we were.
Yeah, we're going back through all the important stuff, especially as we, get ready. We're a month away now from set 4.
Yep.
So we're getting ready to like regroup all of the important stuff, which again is why we're doing chapter 1 through 3's legendaries, because we can talk about that. And there may be a few in here that like get better. Maybe we there's a few in here that could potentially get better. Okay, no comments or questions this week. I think most of the interactions we've had have all been really good, but all kind of just getting ready for set championships and stuff. So that's obviously on our mind as well. But with that said, I think we just jump into it. We're already a couple minutes in, and we're going to argue a lot, I know.
Yep.
So just like last time. Oh, I guess let me take a step back. If you didn't watch the song tier list, I guess it's worth mentioning real fast that I got ganged up on big time on friends on the other side not being S tier, or me saying it's not S tier and everybody else basically saying it was. Well, I guess I have to concede on this one, because if you look at the poll, 59% of the respondents are saying friends on the other side should be S tier, and it's by far the most votes we've ever had on one of those polls too. So And all the people locally have ganged up on me now as well. So
I'm just saying, it seems like I've got a lot of friends, Just
and
saying.
apparently my friends are on the other side. So, I mean, it is what it is. But I guess that's worth mentioning from our last tier list as we move into our next one. But
in your face. Go ahead. Go ahead. No.
Okay,
continue.
for those listening, we're gonna go through each ink, and we'll recap each ink at the end of the episode on where each of them fall within that, and then within each ink, we're gonna go by chapter. So we're gonna start chapter 1 amber, and then go through all of those. Chapter 1 amethyst, and go through all those.
Would you like to mention the tiers real quick?
I think for the audio listeners, it's probably best to just have that as a surprise. Actually.
Okay. All right.
We'll just have them.
I'll just say we have 6 tiers.
We have S, A, B, C, D, and a secret one at the end. We'll just say that. Okay, let's get into it. We're not going to make the same mistake this time. Rapunzel was left off our chapter 1 tier list completely. Didn't even make the top cards tier list.
She's on this one.
Okay, where do you think Rapunzel goes?
A.
I've struggled.
Currently A.
Yeah. Here's my argument, and she's made it through every single meta and been relevant. Like
except
every single
chapter 2, really.
No, she was still in chapter 2. Steel Song just wasn't as good. Like she was just as important there. It just took a step back.
I think she's S in her ink. But if we're looking at all the inks together,
I'm trying to think of like what other ones on this list. Like I can't come up with that many that are better than her.
I can.
You have 5 that are better than Rapunzel?
We're doing 5 Esther?
No, I'm just saying in general. Like I'm just saying, like, are there 4 or 5 that you have better than Rapunzel?
I've got.
I don't. I have maybe 3.
I've got
4. Okay, we'll start A tier, and if I feel like we need to argue it more at the end, then we will. How about that?
All right.
Okay.
I've got 4 so far.
Okay, so Rapunzel, gifted with healing, heal your damage, draw amount of cards that you get from healing. So you heal and you draw. Again, anytime we talked about like Flavisham, anytime you're drawing, it's really good. Okay, A tier. Stitch Surfer from chapter 1.
AS in chapter 1. I'm gonna say BA now.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. Like AB.
I would say with what we've got so far, it's B.
Probably, yeah. I was gonna say probably a step down from Rapunzel, so I think it's safe to go B. Again, really big body. Again, and in today's meta with 4 strength, not being able to get Medusa, really, really powerful as well. Quests for 2, really solid. I mean, the 7 cost is obviously its biggest barrier. But again, I think it's still really, really solid. So, I mean, in the Steel Song deck, I have run 3 copies. I mean, that I'm currently playing. So,
sure.
I mean, it's still extremely, extremely viable. Okay, Snow White from chapter 2 now. Moving on to chapter 2. I mean, how far down do we go on this one?
We're gonna go to our 5th tier, D.
Yeah, I've seen her played a couple times. Are we saving D for like unplayable though? Because I've seen her played a couple times and has done decent, but
if she has a place, plus there's only 1 unplayable legendary, and we'll get to that.
I don't know, uninkable. I'm fine with D. Yeah, it's uninkable. So,
I mean, when was that chapter 2 that you saw play? I mean,
yeah, a tiny bit. So Snow White, the Well Wisher, is a shift 4, and it says whenever this character quests, you may return a card or return a character card from your discard to your hand. So, I mean, kind of a little bit of Hades overlap there. I think people still play more Hades because it's guaranteed. You don't have to quest to get that return. I also think one of the next ones we're going to talk about, Perdita, is kind of in that same boat with a little bit of a caveat, but maybe a little bit better. So yeah, I'm fine with D. Okay, Mufasa.
I'm thinking A.
Yeah, I'm really solid on the A. Like it created its own archetype, its own character deck archetype.
Yes.
So it's really solid in that regards. Mufasa obviously says whenever this character is banished, you may reveal the top card of your deck. If it's a character card, you can play it for free. Exert it, otherwise put it on the top of your deck. So, I mean, the characters are obviously really important. It does a fantastic job of like, deterring people from like be prepareding because you don't know what's going to come off the top. It also makes people wary of just challenging into them because if you die and you challenge and then they bring off like a Lady Tremaine or a dragon or something off the top, and then you get 2 for 1.
And
so it's really annoying.
He's got that 3 strength willpower, so he's like right in between. Like he's perfect to like he can die easy, but also he's got good enough stats to last if you want him to.
Yeah,
So he's
no, that's a good point. Yeah, I think he kind of hedges on the S tier too. I think that it's very like archetype specific and not very versatile, and so from that range, I think it doesn't get the S tier.
Yeah.
Okay, Perdita. We just kind of talked about her for a quick second, but the 6 cost uninkable from chapter 3 that says whenever you play this character, you may, or whenever she quests, you may play a character with 2 costs or less from free from your discard.
Here's the thing, like, regardless of how viable she is, I really like this card. Like,
I
I
really
do.
like it too.
So that might have a bit here, but she's definitely not D.
No,
I think she's C.
Yeah, I won, I think, 9 games in a row to start League with that card.
And I think this was an easy. I think her deck was an easy one to start chapter 3 with.
Yeah,
but
yeah. So I mean, I like her a lot, but again, she's not like the super most viable card of all time.
Speaking of C,
yeah, I don't know. Kita is one of the So on the last one on Amber, we're getting to Kita, Protector of Atlantis, the 5 cost inkable shift 3, who has the ability when you play this character, all characters get -3 strength until the start of your next turn. So it's an incredible aggro tool. When it's played against you correctly, it is genuinely, like, I'm not exaggerating when I say this, the most annoying card.
Yeah.
Because there's just nothing you can do. It's literally just like a stalemate for an entire turn. And so if you're behind and they play Akita, better luck next turn, essentially.
No, I mean, there's always a lot of these legendaries, it's like, they're not the most versatile, but some of them, like the ones that on the lower spectrum of things, can still be super impactful, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I think she's probably a solid C too, maybe B, but I think it's super situational.
She can be the highest C, honestly.
Yeah, like you're not playing Kita from behind, because if you're behind, you're needing to do stuff to your opponent's board to mess with them, and if you're losing all your strength, you're not going to be able to do that. So, I mean, I really like the character. I think it's just, again, very archetype specific in the aggro realm, and even more specific because you kind of need to be ahead for it to be impactful. Okay, so no S tier Ambers. Are we sticking with Rapunzel and A is the question.
I am, because I think that setting that as the A is very important to show how good the S's are.
I'm still not sold on that, but
we'll start another poll.
Again,
we'll get another poll.
We'll come back to that one. So, quick recap for the audio listeners on the Amber cards and where they fell. In A tier, we have Rapunzel and Mufasa. In B tier, we have Surfer Stitch. In C tier, we have Kita and Perdita. And in D tier, we have Snow White. So, moving on to Amethyst. Maybe the best legendary set 1.
In chapter 1, this was the best card, I think.
Very
arguably,
with Monstrous Dragon, probably between those two,
and maybe even throw a Heroic Outlaw in there. But like, I mean, it's remember character cards. Like, this was top of the list.
Yeah. So we are obviously talking about from chapter 1, Elsa, Spirit of Winter, the Amethyst legendary 8 cost uninkable that has Deep Freeze, and that says whenever you play this character, exert up to 2 chosen characters they can't ready at the start of their next turn. So not only do they get exerted, but then they can't ready up their next turn. So they're basically, stationary for your entire turn. So it disrupts your next turn as well. I don't think she's S anymore. I think she's definitely, I don't is even A anymore. Like,
she's not A. No.
Like, she doesn't get played near.
I was honestly thinking C or B.
Definitely has to go B. Like, she's definitely in the same realm as Surfer.
Yeah, that's true.
So, okay. Ursula, one of the is that the only? No, there's 2 beast legendaries too, or 3 beast legendaries. Yeah. Okay. So, not the only one that has multiple legendaries, but the first Ursula, Power Hungry from chapter 1. When you play this character, each opponent loses 1 lore. You may draw a card for each lore lost that way. She quests for 3. 8 willpower is a massive body. This might be the biggest rise and fall of a card we've seen. Yeah. Like, of a single card.
Yeah.
Like, at the end of chapter 2, running rampant with bounce and running rampant with the control deck. Chapter 3 came and she's gone. Like, this was a 3-month card, maybe?
I mean, yes. I mean, look, with where things are going in Lorcana, Ursula's going to be on top of the meta at some point.
But yeah, I think she's like a C now, though.
She's a C.
Because Medusa takes her out, so direct removal. Even like Kit bounce. Like, if you're really, if you're like really I mean, you obviously don't necessarily want to bounce her, but like if you're in serious trouble and that's your option, like she gets bounced by Kit with the 2 strings.
Yeah.
So like, I mean, it's there's a lot of downside. There's some great upside. I think there's more downside though.
I agree.
Okay, I think my most underappreciated legendary that I would like to really see something with, I've talked about her a ton from chapter 2, is Fairy Godmother. The 5-cost inkable shifts for 2, which if she had an incredible shift target, I think she would be played a ton.
Mm-hmm.
That says whenever this character quests, your characters gain Challenger +3. That alone makes it amazing. But on top of that, they also gain when this character is banished in a challenge, return this card to your hand. So
Also, I just thought of something. So you said that the Ursula and Beast only 2, they got 2 Mickeys, 2 Maleficents, and
the
2
Maleficents.
Bells.
Yeah, there's a ton of them. A ton of.
So I just corrected you, but go ahead.
Yeah, that's fine.
Go ahead.
Right in the middle of Fairy Godmother, not getting the love that she deserves.
No, did you say the ability?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're not even paying attention. You're over here just trying to correct me.
I was making sure I got my stats right.
Yeah, you're just over here trying to correct me. I mean, I think there's a world, like if we're talking about like if we had another separate tier that was like cards that aren't great but have the most potential, like she would be the highest one on that for my take.
I agree. I think I can't put her in D. She has to go in C, but she just literally sees no play.
I would agree with that too. I think she is playable, and I think there's
she's playable,
options, but just not the greatest, unfortunately. Okay, the most unplayable mem. Madam Mem Purple Dragon, 7-cost inkable, evasive, massive stats, but you have to bounce 2 characters. I think I've seen this played once, like genuinely once.
She goes in the D tier.
Yeah, I'm unfortunately going D as well. I mean, quests for 4. If you really are set on having a card that quests for 4.
If you just look at her stats, she's nuts.
Yeah,
but
throw in the ability, and it's bad. Although I have talked about a card that like takes away other cards' abilities, like the next turn. Like if you take away her ability, like that's a positive towards this card.
Insane card, yeah.
But yeah, so I think she's D. Unfortunately, the whole bounce package, that's the one that gets lost in the shuffle. Having to bounce 2 characters, just you'd have to play like a really aggro deck and then like throw this in there for like hope you draw it at the right time to bounce 2 1-costs. It just doesn't seem worth it. So D tier for sure. Okay, moving on to the chapter 3 amethysts. I'm going to have a controversial one here because Jake's brother's in the room and is not going to be happy about one of them. But starting with Maleficent, as you said, the second Maleficent legendary. 5-cost inkable. Whenever this character quests, you may draw a card. That's okay. During your turn, whenever you draw a card, you may move 1 damage counter from chosen character to chosen opposing character. So you get a little bit of that, but again, there's no on play abilities. It's only on quests. The stat line's kind of hit or miss.
You just named it. One of the biggest things in the matter right now is on play abilities. You named it. There are only a few exceptions of that rule where it's not on play and they're good.
If this was like a 4/4 stat line, I think it's a different story. But a 5-cost with a 2/3 stat line and a no on play ability, that's rough.
That is terrible curve.
That's rough. I'll say that. So are we saying D on this one?
I'm saying D on this one.
I'm fine with D on this one too. Okay, the one that you might hear some screaming in the background from, Jafar, Striking Illusionist, the big bad combo card of set 3 with a whole new world that says during your turn, whenever this character is exerted and you draw a card, you gain 1 lore. So he is evasive. That's crazy. He shifts for 5, so you're definitely wanting to shift on turn 5 and seeing a whole new world if you're in a good spot to do that. I think it's just so obvious at what's coming if you're playing this that it makes it easy to like build your board or build your turns around what's coming. I think some of the hardest things that come up in the game is having an unexpected turn from your opponent or getting, out kind of positioned by something you don't see coming. You always see that coming.
I agree with you on that, but I have an argument for it and a positive argument for it. Whenever you've ever seen a single card, a single legendary card, make an entire deck around itself. I think
Mufasa. We already talked about it.
So it's A.
I think it's A. Yeah.
Okay, then we agree on that.
I think it's A tier.
I thought you were going lower than A.
No,
okay.
I thought you were going to say S because I know Tyler would want to say.
No,
S,
I agree with A. I agree with A completely.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so that wraps up Amethyst then. Kind of flying through this. This isn't we're kind of just like running through. I think Rapunzel's the only one that we haven't really seen eye to eye on yet. But anyways, sorry.
No,
Little
no,
aside
I
there.
agree. I agree.
God, it's weird seeing Elsa in B tier. But quick Amethyst recap: we've got Jafar striking Illusionist in A tier. In B tier, we've got Elsa Spirit of Winter. That's really
a weird
that's
one.
really weird.
It's a weird,
seeing
but
her
it
that far.
it's right though. I think.
I don't really disagree. Even looking at this now, like it's hard to put her higher.
I wish they could go back and add an inkable to a card.
I mean, if she was inkable, she'd be like nutty.
Yeah.
But, in C tier, we have Ursula, Power Hungry from Chapter 1. We've got Fairy Godmother. And then in D tier, we got 2, unfortunately. The Madame Mim, Purple Dragon, and Maleficent from Chapter 3, the Mistress of all evil. So it's weird because when I think of like, if just like on the top of my head, if you were to tell me what set or what color has the best legendaries, I'd probably say Amethyst. But
you would?
I just not looking at the cards. Like if I just don't look at the cards and I just think like what has the best legendaries, like Amethyst might be the one I just blurt out. But I don't know if that's the case now that we're like
the one for me when people would say best legendaries would be Steel, but that's what would come to mind.
Well, we'll
get to that.
Yeah, we'll recap with that. Which
we'll
one
get
we
to
think
that.
has the best. Okay, so moving on to green, or I don't know why I said green, onto Emerald here.
Pick some more.
Yeah, I guess. I think it's actually, I don't think it has anything to do with that. I think it has to do with like I've been logging my games and you can't do the like actual name of the ink because there's Amber and Amethyst, which are both A's. There's Sapphire and Steel, which are both S's. And so like if you're trying to like denote by the start of it, so I just did all the colors of it instead.
That makes sense.
To like log them to see where my strengths and
weaknesses
weaknesses are.
That makes sense.
Okay, so the first beast from Chapter 1 in Emerald. Unfortunately, I think this one is kind of a weird one too. The Wolfsbane Beast, 5 cost uninkable, which is not shocking being an Emerald that it's uninkable. 4/4 stat line, has Rush, and has the ability when you play this character exert all opposing damaged characters. Aside from the Rush, like it's super underwhelming. Uninkable, the exert damaged characters is kind of cool, but I just feel like there's better ways to deal with damaged characters.
To me, this is like the highest D, maybe. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's definitely not as good as Kita, Perdita, or Ursula. So like, there's no way we can even like consider C if we're considering those.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But it's not. I don't think it's like blah terrible. You know, it's. I think there's still something.
Yeah, it's
there.
definitely not as bad as like Mem or Maleficent.
It's in that weird middle. So I think.
Yeah. John Silver, this is a really weird one too, because like I could put him anywhere from S to D, and I genuinely mean that. Like I could see him being anywhere in between. He's definitely not on the higher end because he doesn't see any play, and like the whole Emerald archetype these days is discard and hand disruption, and he doesn't really do that. So the whole reckless ability that he has doesn't do a ton.
He's not even played in the pirate deck because he's in the wrong ink.
Yeah, so he has like one of the most what do you call them? The blurbs: pirate, captain, alien, villain, storyborn.
Yeah,
like has all of the keywords. But yeah, I think the reckless was good in Chapter 1 when there just wasn't a bunch of answers for you being given reckless. I don't know. I feel bad. C.
Yeah, that's why.
Like low C, probably like I don't know, right there.
He's definitely not D by any means.
Yeah, he's definitely better than that. Okay, so moving on to Chapter 2, Emerald, we've got some interesting ones. Yeah, let's start with Belle. I know it's not the first one here, but let's start with Belle because he goes with John Silver, so it makes the most sense. Because this one says whenever this character is challenged, the challenging character's player discards all their cards in their hand. So when we saw this, it was like, oh, her and John Silver are going to be best friends.
Yeah. And there was a bit of that within the first week.
For like 3 hours.
Yeah.
There was a lot of that going on. And it was, but again, there's just so much steal. Like when you have a 3/3 stat line like Belle does, and there's so much steal in the meta with the direct removal and spells and everything, like there are so many other options to get rid of it to where that doesn't even have to become a factor.
And that 3/3 stat line has made it even worse going into Chapter 3 with Tremaine. Or not
Yeah,
Tremaine.
Medusa.
Medusa.
Yeah, so that's a good point too. I think that, again, I think there's potential. Maybe this one sees some life at some point, but it's uninkable, which doesn't help it. Yeah,
Put it right with.
Is
Put
this
it.
D?
It is D.
Yeah,
Put it right with its
unfortunately.
beast friend.
All right, all the emeralds are going down there. You know what? I'm gonna just go ahead and throw Milo in D tier as well. We'll come back to that one in a second. We'll come back to that one in a second. But we got Beast Relentless from chapter 2 as well to talk about real quick. The really fun 1-turn kill card that says whenever an opposing character is damaged, you may ready this character. And it doesn't say you can't quest, so you deal some chip damage quest, deal some tip damage quest, and do that a whole bunch.
Mark my words, this is going to see play, meta play, at some point. I know it will. I know it will.
So, is this a...
This is a C.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it higher-ish C. There's so much potential, and I think like as a 2-of in your deck to like really put pressure on, where maybe you have some other like big problems on the board, and they play a beast. It's like, well, what do I do now? Because I have to take out the beast. And so maybe it's not necessarily like the most impactful from like its abilities, but from a distraction standpoint, it can be an incredible annoyance. So.
Yeah, I mean, Emerald has the other tools to keep you going while it's distracting. So
yeah,
at some point, mark my words, it's going to see S tier play.
Okay.
So.
Okay, so moving on to chapter 3, I guess we'll talk about Milo since we already put him in D. I just don't think you want to return a lot of cards to somebody's hand. Genuinely.
Not on a mass scale, for sure. Like,
if you're doing it early on to create tempo, like that's one thing. But if you're doing it late game where there's a potential monstrous dragon...
7 cost uninkable?
Yeah, the uninkable on that one.
And
really
it's
weird.
not even on play either.
No, it's on whenever this character is banished.
So you can't even control when you're gonna do it.
Yeah, that's a. I don't know. I'm like looking back at myself. Like, how was I this dumb to think that this had potential to be good? I don't know.
This might even go in the secret 6th tier.
We'll come back to that one. Yeah.
Put it the lowest, please.
Okay. We'll throw it down there.
No, at least the lowest at D. But
oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, that's fair. Okay, so but getting to the other chapter 3, legendary and emerald, we have Ursula, Deceiver of All, which
it's our first S tier. Tell me I'm wrong.
You're not wrong, but I just don't like her being over Rapunzel.
But she is.
I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying she's not good. I'm just saying you're not giving Rapunzel enough credit.
I understand. I get what you're saying, but I'm saying I'm correct.
Again, I think that this is a card that when it's played has a big target on its back, and I don't know. Like, I know you've played it a ton recently, but in a wide variety of deck types, like this gets removed pretty quickly. So does it get 1 trigger? Sure, but it's if your opponent's letting you get 2 triggers off of this, they're doing something wrong.
I agree. You're getting 1 trigger at least, or at minimum in most cases.
No, I would say at maximum in most cases.
Or that's what I meant.
Okay.
I meant
yeah.
maximum.
So I don't. Again, my hesitation is not that it's S tier, because it is fantastic. It's just I don't feel like it deserves to be up there alone. Which I guess
it's not going to be.
Okay.
But
well, quick recap here. We realized that the video feed, it was not updating, and so if you're watching on YouTube and you're wondering what's going on, it's I don't know why the video is not working, but yeah. So on the audio version, we're giving you a quick recap. For the video version, you're getting a quick recap now too. Our first S tier, Ursula, Deceiver of All, coming from Emerald. Did not see that coming, but we'll still argue about Rapunzel when we finish here. And then you skip all the way down to C tier. We've got the Beast Relentless and John Silver, and in D tier we've got 3 of them. We've got Beast Wolfsbane, Bellhidden Archer, and Milo Thatch. So either really good or not good at all. I mean, nothing else really you can say about that one. Okay, so moving on to Ruby. First one from chapter 1 is Maleficent Monstrous Dragon. Go ahead and putting that in S tier. Not a lot to say about it.
okay, so I wasn't gonna put that in.
You weren't gonna put it in S tier?
I was not originally.
Maleficent Monstrous Dragon?
I was not originally.
You said you had 4 or 5 cards in S tier, and Maleficent Monstrous Dragon wasn't one of them?
I agree with you. I just wasn't thinking of that.
Where were you gonna put it? B?
A?
No, Maleficent Monstrous Dragon is the quintessential card removal. And I know like it doesn't see quite as much play as potentially like Tremaine or Medusa, but it's inkable. Like if you want extra removal, like Maleficent Monstrous Dragon is always going to be a part of it because it is inkable. So even though it costs 9, the fact that you can just get rid of it if you get it earlier on is much better off than you get with Medusa or Tremaine.
All right, I mean, we'll disagree on that one.
What?
I honestly don't think so.
How? You played Ruby Amethyst for 6 months.
Yeah, and it wasn't my favorite.
All right, well, you're playing it wrong then because 7/5 stat line with a insta banish.
Okay.
What about this does not say S tier? Tell me that then.
Cost.
That means nothing. If you're ramping and if you're playing a longer control game, 9 means nothing.
I honestly think
you're just saying that because you're playing tempo these days, and so 9 costs.
No, I
absorb.
Trust me. I played Ruby Amethyst for the first 2 chapters in the beginning of chapter 3. I understand Ruby Amethyst.
9 cost means nothing when you're playing control or you're ramping. Or
it does. It definitely does in the meta of chapter 3 because you need to get off fast, and that is.
And you can do that, but then you have the closing power that she brings.
Today's meta, I don't think she deserves an S, but I'll put Rapunzel in A. You put her in S.
No, we're still coming back to Rapunzel. Okay, Mickey BLT, the complete game mascot.
The game mascot, yeah.
God, I really, really love this card. Like, as just a noob that doesn't understand it, and you see that stat line, and you see evasive, like, you want this to be the best card ever.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a world with, like, Lucky Dime where it's has some merit, but it's still not great. I mean, is this a B or B? B.
Yeah, I can't put it lower than B. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think I will put it lower B, but I think it's not in C. I mean, it can't go down there with like Relentless Beast,
which we'll see more play than he ever has. But at some point,
what
it will.
Oh my gosh. Okay, moving on to chapter 2, Ruby. We've got Scar.
Chapter 2, Ruby was rough. I think.
Okay, I'm going to ask you what your opinion on Scar is, and it's going to tell me how well you know the current meta and what's going on in the game. Where do you think Scar belongs?
B.
Okay, that's higher than I thought you'd say.
Because it's situational.
I don't think so. I think the 6 strength is more important than ever with as many Cogsworth as running rampant.
I understand that for sure.
So I'm even thinking A.
But again, to me that's situational because it's Cogsworth. Like
no, but that's like it. But that's like that is the counter for Cogsworth. That's not the only situation it's good. With as much Cogsworth as there's running rampant, that's the best counter to it because it can quest and do other things too. Whereas Maui, you come in, you take one out, that's fine, but then he gets taken out, and then you've still got a board left where he can take out 1 or 2 potentially.
I agree.
So I don't know. I mean, we'll go high B tier. I could definitely see this being A.
I don't think he deserves the
A, but I mean, we only got 3 in there now. You know, I don't know how many others are deserving. I guess there's a few. But
it's just A is basically S tier minus. That's.
Well, we didn't say that now, did we?
I mean, it essentially is.
Donald Duck, is he a D or C or gray?
He's a D.
Yeah. So the Donald
Duck.
Well,
he's above Milo.
Oh, he's above Milo. Okay, sorry. Donald, I think he has potential too. I mean, the whole Teeth and Ambitions line is still really fun.
He has there's a lot of saving graces for some of these D tiers, and it's a combo. And he has a combo. So.
Yeah, that's a good point. I'm going to put him a little higher. I think he's better than the dumb dragon. The dumb purple dragon. But yeah, so the Donald Duck, for those of you who are not familiar, who very well may not be familiar because it's never seen any play, is that he gets
my dad.
He gets +1 lore for each damage he has on him. So if you like Teeth and Ambitions, him, like that's a good target to hit because then he gets more strong, more powerful, more strong. Wow, I can't talk.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I don't know. I think that, again, the combo pieces make it interesting, but it's still just not good.
It's interesting to play. I've seen it once played with Dime. And you do that. You do the teeth on it and then dime it.
Interesting. I do. That is kind of interesting, actually. Okay, it's chapter 3, Ruby. We're moving on to Hydra. Whenever this character is dealt damage, deal that much damage to chosen opposing character. This is kind of in the same vein as like Prince Eric from Ruby in chapter 3, where you get to banish chosen opposing character when he's banished, because the 5 willpower, like if you deal 5 damage to it, then it's going to.
So does it? I don't know specific ruling on this, but if a Maui attacks it, does that deal 6 to it?
I think so.
Okay.
I haven't really read through all the rule books on that one yet either, and we talked about that with like Mulan from the set 4 preview. But yeah, I think like this is one that you have to proactively take out, because if it challenges into one of your characters and gets dealt 4 or 5 damage, then it can 2-for-1 you, and so you have to just proactively like play a Long Came Zeus on it or something, so that it can choose its target on what to deal that damage to and banish. Otherwise, you're getting 2-for-1. And so that's one that you just have to really, really, really be annoyed with taking out, because there's just no way around its removal. Like, it's going to happen.
There's a point where it's real nasty, I think.
Yeah, I think it's easily...
Whoa.
It's B tier for sure.
Really?
If you're... I might even... Yeah. I mean, it has a place in the meta. It's really good in Mufasa decks.
Okay.
I didn't throw it in like a high B tier. But,
no, you low B. That's fine. I agree. I mean, okay.
We have a nice little stepstone here going on too.
Yes, we do.
Down to D tier. Okay, Jim Hawkins. This one's gonna hurt you. I have a feeling, because I don't know. He might have had as big a rise and fall as Ursula from chapter 1. I mean, Jim, obviously the chapter 3 legendary that says whenever you play this character, you may play a location that costs 4 or less for free. And then whenever you play a location, you may move him there for free. So you get to play and move for free on the first turn, which is a really big tempo gain. And I don't honestly I think the only reason he's being left out of a lot of decks these days is because there's just so many more important things than that short little tempo burst that you get, whether it be card draw or board advantage or, direct removal necessary or spells of some sort. Like, I just think that I don't know. I think there's definitely a place for him, and I think especially when new locations continue to come out, that he will have a place. What are you thinking?
So I disagree with people that say he's completely fell off, which you didn't say.
No, he's not completely gone. It's just he was like a 4 of in every deck, and now he's probably a 2 of.
So for that, I'm saying B.
Yeah, I think B's fair. We'll
this
put him
one,
like mid B.
This one hurts me more than any other. Jim is probably like
I know, like
top
I said,
3 Disney characters.
I knew it would pain you there.
It hurts, but I think it's fair to say B. I don't think that's me being biased.
No, I think it's definitely fair. Okay, so quick Ruby recap here. We've got Maleficent Monstrous Dragon at S tier, very deserving of that. We've got Scar at B tier. We've got Jim Hawkins in B tier. And then we've also got Mickey Mouse BLT and Hydra in B tier. So a very solid B tier showing from Ruby. And then in D tier, we've got good old Donald Duck. So far, most consistently decent.
I think it's pretty good. Yeah.
But moving on to Sapphire, which has some doozies in here. Might as well get started on Sapphire here. We've got chapter 1 to start, which are both pretty solid. We've got Belle, Strange but Special. This is a solid A for sure.
Oh.
Were you going to say S?
B.
What?
Dude,
5 lore? With the dime?
With the dime, but I mean the other cards.
It helps you ramp because you can ink again if you need to. So that is solid.
She's worse than Jafar.
No.
Yeah.
No.
100%.
We have Jafar under Mufasa already. We're not saying she's the lowest A tier.
She's the lowest A tier, 100%.
No, absolutely not.
Dude.
If you have a dime... Okay, so here's the argument. We're saying Jafar is A tier because of the combo ability. So you have...
His combo ability is better than Belle's.
No.
Yeah.
No, because Belle doesn't have to have the combo to be crazy, but with the combo, she gets 10. With Jafar's combo, he gets 7.
But you can...
Combat it.
I can't. You're running a 5 of Whole New World. You're running a 2 of Dime.
You're running 4 of a Whole New World.
What did I say?
You said 5.
You're running a 4 of Whole New World. You're running a 4 of Jafar. Can't say the same about Belle and Dime.
But that's just because the rest of the deck is better. The whole deck relies on that one thing happening. Like, you can do other things with Dime and Bell.
Highest
10 lore versus 7.
Highest B, lowest A. There's no way she's above Mufasa.
Absolutely is above
Jafar.
them.
Not
Absolutely.
That's the hardest disagree I have.
No,
so far.
because listen. So
no way.
The only here's my absolute final argument that makes the most sense. Jafar without Whole New World. What would you rate Jafar without a Whole New World? B or C?
B or C, yeah.
Exactly. Bell without Dime is still low A, high B.
I disagree. Look at her stat line. Read out her stat line.
It's 2-4. We understand
2
that.
strength. 2 strength. That is Medusa. That is Kit.
That's why it's not an S tier. That's why it's not an S.
It is 100% a B.
Okay, so then now we'll talk combo. So if you do have the combo, then you're getting at least 5, and if they can't remove it on turn, then you're getting 10.
The combo costs more than Jafar's.
Doesn't matter. You're in Sapphire, so you're ramping.
There's 100%. It's 100%. It's a B. There's no way it's
okay.
A.
I'll drop it below Mufasa then, but I'm not putting it below Jafar.
Jafar. All right, we're doing 15 pulls for this episode. Jafar or Bell?
Yeah, that's a fair one. We'll ask the people. Okay. Hades. Good, not great.
B.
Yeah, I'm fine with B too.
Along with Bell.
No, definitely not along with Bell. How high are we going? Like maybe like right there?
Above Elsa.
Above Elsa?
He's better than Elsa.
No, I don't think so.
Today's buddy's better than Elsa.
I don't think he's even played anymore. I think he's basically been removed too because people don't want to ramp your opponents.
I agree, but I think
in B tier, okay, that's fine. Okay, Alice from chapter 2 now. C, I think.
C, highest C.
Yeah, I think just a solid C. I think, again, a lot of potential with Alice and her ability that grants everybody else support. I thought that like she could be a dark horse in dealing with locations this set. But Sapphire is just so like chock full of like other potential that there's just not a lot of opportunity for her. And again, a pretty underwhelming stat line at 1-4. Yeah, I think there's a world where she's really good too. It's just not this one, unfortunately. Okay, Sisu. I don't know. This one's tough because I think on paper this one's one of the better cards in the game. Like genuinely.
No, put it down there with Milo.
I'm not saying it is. I'm saying like if you look at it on paper, it's really good, but it's just not because again, stat line underwhelming. You have to quest to get the card.
I'm sorry. What did you just say? The stat line's underwhelming, right?
I'm saying
the same exact stat line as Bell.
There's context.
I understand that.
Okay, let's just look at okay, Ursula's got a 2-3 stat line, so we better drop her down then too.
She's a 3 cost.
And Bell's a 4 cost. That's basically the same.
Bro.
I know, that's my point. You just made my point for you, is the stat line doesn't matter.
Bro.
It's the context of what that stat line is involved with. So, I agree. Sisu's not great. I'll put her D. I think she's one of the better D tiers and potentially C, but Uninkable definitely dropped her down to D in my book.
Fighting words. Let's go.
I agreed with you on that one.
No, I'm still thinking about Bell.
Okay, we gotta wrap this up then so we can get back to the top ones. Okay, where's Grammatala go? Is she C or D?
Sorry, Cooper, D.
Yeah, I think D too. We'll go even like pretty lowish D. Again, I think there's potential. Inking and ramping definitely has its place. And with the card draw that you get from Flavisham, there's always potential there, but I just think it's like too dependent. I think there's more impactful things you can do. Lucky Dime. Okay, so if Bell's B tier, where's Lucky Dime?
S.
Okay, we're on the same boat there. It spawned its whole new meta too, and made other things that were good great, and so that's why, in my book.
Okay, Bell gets B, but
no, Bell does not get B. Okay, now we're moving on to Steel, but we got to do the quick recap here, and we've actually got a pretty balanced inked set here. We've got Lucky Dime in S tier. We've got Bell, Strange but Special, in A tier. We've got Hades, Infernal Schemer in B tier. We've got Alice in C tier, and in D tier we've got Sisu and Grammatala. Okay, moving on to Steel, we've got our special tier list now for Gantu, and it's the Gantu tier, and Gantu is going into the lowest tier, aka the Gantu tier. I think it's a meme at this point.
It
like
is.
we're just kind of following the meme.
Following
I don't think it's that much. Like it's definitely better than Milo. Right?
Yeah.
Like, if we're being serious, like Gantu's better than Milo, right?
Milo can go in the Gantu tier, to be honest.
Okay, yeah, let's move him down there now that we're doing that. To Ka, like I don't know why Taka is not more played. Kind of like in the same realm as Robin Hood. I guess the difference is that Robin Hood can shift. I'm saying abilities wise. I'm not saying like viability.
Okay.
I'm saying 5/5 stat line, and whenever he banishes a character, he gets 2 lore. Like that's very reminiscent of what you get from Robin Hood. The difference is he doesn't draw a card when banished in a challenge, which obviously is a big plus for Robin Hood.
She doesn't shift.
Yeah, Taka doesn't shift, which is also a strike against it. But a strike for it, or a check for it, is that it has 5 strength, so it doesn't get Medusa'd, which happens every time I play Robin Hood. So, again, I'm not saying it's good. I'm not saying, like, we're missing something here. I'm just saying, like, the similarities between the two are shocking that it doesn't see a little bit of experimentation. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
So I'm going to go C, saying I don't think it deserves to be B.
Okay.
But we'll go, like, really low C down here. Okay, Beast Tragic Hero.
In my opinion, best legendary in the game.
I can't agree with that one. I think it's S tier. If you would have asked me this last week, I probably would have said A tier, just because you play a beast and it gets Medusa'd. There's nothing more annoying. Like you play a beast, it gets Medusa'd. Like everybody holds their Medusas for your beast. Like if you're playing beast and you need a card and it gets Medusa'd, game over. Like that's how that goes. And so, like again, on the surface, is it one of the best? Yes, for sure. I'm not saying it's not S tier. I'm agreeing with you that it's S tier. I'm saying this week. You learn to play the matchups, you learn to play the scenarios, and it's an A tier, or it moves from A to S. So it's definitely S tier. I don't think it's the best one by far.
I do think it's the best legendary in the game.
I mean, we'll move it to the best then. I've strong armed you in a couple of these already. I'll give you that one. Okay, Namari from Chapter 2. Again, I think this is one that like has potential there. Being able to challenge ready characters.
When it was announced, I really wanted to figure it out.
The stat line
is terrible.
Again, it's a 2/4, which you're going to say is the same as Bell, blah, 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 it's bad. But if the whole point of Namari is to challenge ready characters, and if the whole point of the card is to challenge, then it needs more strength than 2 for it to be effective at what you're wanting it to do.
You have to run a support card with it. You have to.
Yeah, or it doesn't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
Or like have a spell hit it first. I don't see a world where with that stat line it's good. Sense. And it's uninkable. If it was inkable, like maybe I see a world where it's better. But a 2/4 stat line when you have a card that you want to challenge, it's just not great.
Also, what the heck does the bodyguard mean? It has a bodyguard.
I don't know.
What?
I don't know. I guess D, right?
Yeah.
I guess D. Okay, moving on to Mickey Mouse, Trumpeter. This has a lot of potential too. Like I see a world where this is great. It's just not. And I guess I'm gonna throw it down there with his buddy Namari and go in D tier. And then yeah, Robin Hood goes S. Like there's no doubt about
it. Right below its beast buddy.
I'm going right there.
All right, let's get into it. Let's do this. So talk about the Steel where they landed.
Okay, quick recap before we have our 10-minute. Jab fest back at each other. We've got Beast Tragic Hero in S tier. We've got Robin Hood, Champion of Sherwood in S tier. And then, like we said when we started, in Steel it's either fantastic or awful. And then we drop all the way to C tier where we have Taka and we're being very generous there. And then in D tier, we've got Mickey Mouse Trumpeter and Namari. And then in the Gantu tier, strictly for him because he's so bad and such a meme, we've got Gantu.
There you go. Let it begin.
I still think Rapunzel deserves to be S.
If you're putting her in S, you have to move Dragon down.
How does that like one being better does not make the other worse?
Because I disagree with both of those. So if you're gonna put one up, you have to put one down.
There's no world where Dragonfire is not, or where Maleficent Monstrous Dragon is not an S. Like there's just not a world. I don't know. Maybe I am overseeing that one.
I think you are.
Okay, I'll move it down to the lowest S tier, but it still deserves to be S. Like it's just a staple removal, and it's inkable. Like you don't get punished by running 3 or 4 of these in your hand. If you come up with fun quick, fine, ink it, move on. If you play 4 Tremaines and you end up with 2 of them in their starting hand, you're in trouble. So it has more playability and more flexibility, where the other uninkable removal cards don't have that.
I mean,
okay. Remember, okay, now we'll move on to Rapunzel. Remember in chapter 1 when we made the big mistake of leaving it off, and we said at the end of chapter 1, it's like, this is an S tier card, and we didn't even put it on the list. Now you're saying it's an A tier card?
Are we talking about chapter 1 meta comparing that? That's your logic?
I was kind of hoping you'd just gloss over that.
That's your logic with this, is chapter 1 meta.
I was kind of hoping you'd gloss over that piece and not think about that one, but
yeah, if we're going off chapter 1 meta here, then Belle's S, we got all this.
I think Belle's way better now than she was in chapter 1. Because Belle, you had to get to 10 ink to be important, and in chapter 1, you didn't have enough draw to get Belle to 10 ink.
Okay, but she's beat now, so it just...
Belle is 100%... Okay, so...
Okay, let's fight. This is the one.
Okay, well, we've got 5 minutes left. If we want to take 4 minutes, so we can sign off here, then we'll go. I'll state my argument again here. If you're saying that Jafar is that good because of the combo piece, Belle's combo piece gets 10 lore. Jafar's combo piece gets 7 lore.
Okay.
Let me finish. That's my first point. My second point is Jafar by himself, B or C tier. If you don't have any card draw, just the card by itself, B or C tier. It quests for 1. Without any card draw or any of the gaining lore off of that, it does nothing. Belle, without the dime, still gets you 5 lore.
I think Jafar still does.
He still does what?
5 lore at least, without Whole New World.
But that's fine, because then it takes 5 turns to get there, whereas Belle takes 1 turn.
No, it's not questing. It's friends. It's Maleficent. You're getting, 100%. It still gets you 5 lore plus.
And if you're playing all that small junk, like if you're literally wasting your entire turn to play friends, to play a Maleficent, and to play a rabbit, I'm really happy about that.
But I'm drawing. I'm drawing cards.
I know, and I don't care. That doesn't bother me. Like, I don't care. I'm worried about my game and my board presence. And if you play a Maleficent and a rabbit, I'm just going to Tink Swords your board off and you're done.
Now this is ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. That's the point.
Belle is B, dude.
No.
Belle is
shot.
Make the poll right now.
No, Are
you phoning a friend?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not doing it live here because we're too busy, but yes, I'm going to see what other people think.
This 100% Jafar is better. You can't... Evasive? He has the evasive, better stat line.
Along came Zeus.
Okay. Do you know how many more versions... Along came Zeus Belle.
Yes, but that's my
Tremaine,
point.
Medusa, your monstrous dragon will bring that... The
reason the stat line is worse than Jafar is because it's a better card than Jafar and has better abilities than Jafar. If you gave that a 4-5 stat line, it'd be the best card in the game, bar none.
No.
So you can't knock the stat line.
The reason Jafar has a higher stat line is because it has a higher cost because it's a better card. That is why.
The cost, yes, you're right. The cost increases the stat line, but you just made my point in reverse. Is that it's a lower cost card with just as much impact.
No, so I didn't say that at all. Don't twist my words. Do not twist my words. That is not what I said. That is 100% not what I said.
10 lore versus 7 lore.
Here's the problem. The dime is the Jafar in the situation.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
The dime is the Whole New World. Without the dime, Belle's still good. Without Whole New World, Jafar's still bad.
There's no way, dude. All right, we're either doing this. we're either moving Bell down to B or we're moving them both down to B. Because they...
What? So now we're just saying they're both terrible?
Jafar is 100% better, but Bell belongs in B no matter what.
No shot.
Okay,
we'll put this will be the poll this week. If you're listening to this and you're still able to deal with us bickering at each other like an old married couple, then please look at the poll on Spotify and vote for if Bell or Jafar is better. And I will concede. No, I'm not. I'm not even saying. No, I take that back. I take that. I'm not conceding.
I will concede. I will concede.
You can concede. I know Bell's better.
I know Jafar's better. I do know Jafar's better.
I know Jafar. I know Bell's better.
Dude. Okay, we'll see. We will literally see who is right. The poll decides this.
No, I won't concede because if
I'm actually loyal to our viewers.
If the poll respondents was Zepha, Zach Bivens, DeCandio, and Steadfast, then I will.
Let's call them up. Let's call them up right now.
You know what? I might put out a tweet and ask them which is better, Bell or Jafar, and we'll go off of that then.
All right, let's do it.
Okay, I think that was 5 minutes, and I said we have 5 minutes, so
close us out.
Okay, I hope that was fun for people. Like we're not mad at each other. Like this is genuine, just like fun banter. So I enjoyed this. This was a fun.
This was a good one.
I mean. I still don't know if Tragic Hero is the best. And I'm not saying it's not. Like this one, I'm not arguing with you on. I'm saying I genuinely don't know what the best one is. Like if you were to tell me what the best legendary is, I honestly don't know what I would pick.
For me, it's between Robin Hood and Beast. For me personally, I think it's.
Yeah, I mean they're both great. Honestly, there's probably 5 that I would toss out
because they're really the only 2 legendaries that have multiple use.
That's a good point too. I mean.
Every other legendary mostly is they've got the one ability, the one use.
Except from Bell, who has 2 abilities too. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to get back into it. I'm not trying to get back into it.
All right, bye everyone, bye.
All right, everyone. Oh gosh. Okay. I really don't know, and I don't even know how to end on.
You brought it up. You brought it back up.
I know.
You brought it back up.
I wasn't trying to. Okay, everyone. Thanks for listening. I hope this was fun for you. It was really fun for us. But good luck at your set championships. I don't know. Yeah, let us know how you do at your set championships and if you play Bell or Jafar. Thanks, everyone. Catch you next time.
Bye, guys.
Okay, so we just stopped recording and now we're recording again because Tyler's jumping in and he's on my side.
Get over.
Okay.
Next to Zach.
Cut, yeah, I'm literally recording again. So speak your piece.
Okay, I'm 2. I agree with
Bell.
Well, I agree with Jafar as A, not S, because he's not A. His deck is. He's not S. His deck is S.
Okay, I'll concede that one to you.
But Bell is better because it's like Zach said. If it's just the main 2 cards, because her ability helps you ink even if she does get eliminated, and not have the 5 lore, you still probably get 2 in 1 turn. And doesn't it say face down, so it can be an uninkable?
Yeah, no, it still has to be inkable. You have to show it. But this is a Jafar player. Yeah. He's saying Bell's better.
This is my brother Jafar. Tyler, by the way.
Love Jafar. I played Jafar, Robin Hood, Beast, all of it. Love Jafar. But as the single card, I think Bell is better. I'm not saying Jafar is bad. Jafar is amazing. Okay? I'm not. But I do think Bell is better.
All right. Thank you, Tyler. And thanks again, everyone, for listening. Bye.
Michael!